E-commerce procurement companies. I realize that packing is not a high priority right now, but please remember that is the first impression that a customer sees when they first receive your products. Bad packing is going to cause issues on social media, especially nowadays when the environment is becoming such a hot topic. Luckily, we have an expert in packing. I'd like to introduce Steve Cooper. Steve, thank you for joining me on scottcundill.com.
Thanks, Scotty. I much appreciate the opportunity. And you're right, e-commerce companies and e-commerce fulfillment companies, they're struggling with the ability to pack their products efficiently as possible for several reasons. One is to keep their freight costs down in this world of everybody staying at home and more home deliveries. The ability to keep the boxes smaller so they can get more into those boxes, keep their freight costs down, while at the same time, everyone's conscious about the environment and everyone's gotten packages in where they've received a cell phone case in a refrigerator box. So working with these companies to try and pack as efficiently, as tightly as possible helps them, helps their customers, helps their transportation partners, etc. So I'm real excited to introduce the topic and talk more about the topic, Scotty, with you and with your audience.
Thank you, Steve. And I think, and stop me if I'm wrong here, but there does seem to be a little bit of a disconnect between the customer and the company itself, because the customer sees something, but it's almost as if the same level of priority that a customer gives, and you made the example of you get a cell phone in a refrigerator box. That is a very frustrating thing. I've got that before, and it's annoying, and it's covered with all kinds of protection mechanisms, right, unnecessary, and it all gets thrown away. But it seems like there's a disconnect between what the customer is feeling and what the company is doing because it's not a priority. Is that fair to say?
It is fair to say. A little tweak to that, though, Scotty. It is a priority for the company to ship as efficiently as possible and keep their costs down. What's not a priority is figuring out a way to do that in the process where everybody's hair is on fire. And you can see my hair caught on fire a very long time ago. But everybody's rushing. They're trying to get as much out the door as they possibly can. The companies realize they have a problem. The customers realize there's a problem because they're posting it on Twitter, on Instagram. Every day I get 15 different forwards from friends who have received packages or who have seen something funny on Instagram that I don't think is very funny, but they do, and the customers the companies who are shipping it certainly don't think it's funny. So it's just a matter of working with these companies when they get a chance to take a breath and give their people in the warehouse some more direction to help them fix the problem. It's not that it's not a priority, Scotty. It is. It's just getting stuff shipped out is the bigger priority for them. It's a small difference, but it's a great question.
It's an important point, though, because you've just given me an insight into the industry in terms of, okay, we get that's an issue. We get it's frustrating our customers. It needs to be dealt with. But the truth is we are so busy right now that we just can't get to it. So let's talk about that. You know what's going on in the factory floor, in the packing floor. Tell us what goes on and start to enlighten us a little bit about how it can be solved.
Right. So that's a great question. And understanding that on the warehouse floor, the factory floor, the packing room floor, the people who actually have to put the items in the boxes and then on the trucks or just on the trucks so they can be delivered, their focus is they get one direction: fast. Okay. Go as fast as you can. Yeah. And anybody who's ever tried to do anything, it's easier to put something small and something large and seal it up and go, as opposed to figure out the best way to do that. So they get something fast. Their direction is fast, fast, fast. When the management's decision or their thinking, keep it shortened down. So the idea is the companies who are successfully addressing this are giving their people direction more than fast. And they're putting in some automation or some artificial intelligence in the process. It started years ago with barcoding, so people wouldn't have to enter in numbers. They could just scan a barcode and it would eliminate the mistakes. Think of this as something like the next step. So giving the packer or the people in the warehouse some direction on, put these 5 items in this box and put them in this way is much better than just get it done fast or you're fired. So, and if you use the right intelligence there, it won't slow them down, which is always the problem. People think if I tell them to pack it efficiently, they'll do a Rubik's Cube every time they have to ship out a box. That's counterproductive to the profitability of the organization. So adding some artificial intelligence and some automation and some more direction to the packers and the people in the warehouse, that's the key. And that's what the successful companies are doing. And when we meet with companies, that's what we try and talk to them about doing.
Okay. You mentioned artificial intelligence, and for a lot of companies, a lot of people, it's like, whoa, I don't want to go there yet. And it's almost like, we know it's coming, but am I ready to take that next step? What you're saying is that actually it's not a big step, because if you just bring in AI and you understand, assuming that you want to solve this problem of inefficient packing, which I think all companies really need to start addressing soon, because it's very frustrating getting packaging that's not that great. But can you just talk us through the fact that, you know, this is not introducing some crazy kind of new age robot into your business. It's relatively simple and it's efficient, and it will just help the individual people who are packing do it in a much more efficient way. Can you just talk us through the simplicity and kind of just make us feel a little bit better about the process?
That's a great question, Scotty. Thank you. And yeah, when I first heard artificial intelligence, the Terminator comes up into my mind right away. And they think, okay, I'm going to put artificial intelligence in my warehouse, and then they're going to kill everyone and take over the warehouse, and that'll be the end of it. But that's not what it is. I mean, artificial intelligence can be something as complex as robots that you see in manufacturing facilities, or it can just be something as simple as, when I print my pick ticket in the warehouse, I want to make a call to some application that'll cartonize it for me intelligently using some historical data and some rules I've built in, and give my people direction. So it's everything from building a box around a product, which is artificial intelligence, all the way down to just helping them, give them some better direction that might have some rate awareness in terms of the carriers, so they know if it's an international shipment versus a domestic shipment, that might be a little bit different, or they know that traditionally or historically, based on what's happening, to me to ship from Cleveland to Los Angeles in North America, the carriers might say it takes 5 days, but I know traditionally it takes 4 days, so I'm going to use the number that I've learned over time. So that's how we apply, in a simplistic, inexpensive, lightweight way, into the warehouse some artificial intelligence, so they don't need to spend 7 or 9 figures on robotic stuff or machines to build boxes around items. Not that those are bad things, it depends on the right environment. Again, it's all about working what's best for the customer or what's best for the company.
Right. So I'm feeling a bit better now, because it's not about putting in robots that are going to automatically pack efficiently. It's just using historical data to make current packing more efficient and giving a very simple step-by-step guide how to pack these products into the right size box. But the question that everyone who listens to this is going to ask, but Steve, this is going to cost an arm and a leg. And I think the price issue is important. And in your article, which is a fantastic article, by the way, you did address this issue. And it's important to understand that you can actually save money from this process. Talk us through the cost issue, please.
Right. So the cost savings comes from a few different areas, and there's one big initiative that's hard to justify a cost savings. Cost savings really come from 2 distinct areas. The way that the freight carriers charge when they pick something up at your warehouse and deliver it to your customer, it's not based on the weight of the box anymore, and the distance it's traveling from the warehouse to the customer. It's based on something called the dimensional weight of the box. So how much room does that box take up in the truck or airplane, and then how far it is. So if we can make the box even 10% smaller, meaning remove some of that packing material that you talked about before, and there's nothing worse, right, than you open up a new pair of running shoes and you pull out and there's peanuts everywhere and the styrofoam things get everywhere. So if you make the box 10% smaller, you save 10% of your freight, even though the weight's the same and the destination's the same. The dimensions are smaller, so your costs are 10% less. The labor savings also, now we're giving your people direction and they know what to do. They don't have to think, which box should I have for this order? It tells them right on their paperwork or right on their RF scanning gun which box to use. So those are the two ways to save it. And then what we talk about is if you invest 1% in AI cartonization, you'll save 10% and at least. And that comes from reducing your shipping costs, reducing your cardboard costs, because the less cardboard you buy, the less packing material you buy, and lowering your labor or giving your labor some better direction so they can get more done. The side benefit that's harder to justify is every company I talk to, from small companies to large companies, have a sustainability issue, a sustainability initiative, I'm sorry. So by making the boxes smaller, they can fit more on the truck, they can fit more on the plane. So what we talk about, if we could do it with every company in the world, we would reduce 20% of the carbon that's made by
wow.
It's unrealistic to think we'll do every company in the world, but you'll be able to fit more boxes on the truck, you'll lower your carbon footprint, and it's a side benefit to help you achieve your sustainability initiative without adding any additional cost, because the ROI or the return on investment is there with AI cartonization and those other areas I mentioned.
Yeah. Steve, it's completely logical. I mean, it really is. It's what we'd call a no-brainer. It's a logical, it makes perfect sense in every single way. So to finish off, just tell us about Paccurate and how you guys have developed a solution that can solve this issue without the pain.
Well, there's always a little bit of pain.
Fair enough.
Nothing good comes from us not having just a tiny bit of pain. But the what Paccurate is we're a lightweight API application, truly an artificial intelligence application. So inside what the industry calls the order to cash flow, from the time you call up and place an order until the time it arrives at your front door, the industry calls that the order to cash process, or they call it the fulfillment process, whatever they want to call it. So somewhere or multiple steps in there, you might want to figure out how many cartons this order is going to be, or how many pallets this order is going to be, especially if you're shipping internationally, where you need to get a letter of credit, or you need to do some international paperwork up front before it even gets to the warehouse. So the way Paccurate does it is we built this lightweight API, we call it a unique request, and you send us this unique request, it's a JSON API message, and we send back the response. Very simple. The little bit of pain comes from someone in our customer's IT department has to generate their request, and someone in our customer's IT department has to accept back the response and then something to do with it. When I talk to IT managers and the people who are dedicated to do this, they say it was easier for me to do this than it was to show our new VP of sales how to use Excel. So it's a simple process, but there is a little bit of pain, and it's very lightweight. And that's the difference between Paccurate and some of our competitors. Some of our competitors are big applications that need to be installed, that need to be integrated, that have to have servers, that require maybe some automation, maybe some of those robots in order to achieve what needs to be the goal that the customer has. At Paccurate, it's very lightweight. It's no long-term contracts. It's billed monthly. All of our implementations have a 30-day free trial to start up to help your IT guy, because he's got a little bit of time he's got to spend with the VP of sales to show him how to add two cells together in Excel. So he's got to help with that. And that's the benefit that Paccurate offers into this industry. The industry itself, the people who are listening who don't have any cartonization or AI cartonization should look at it and should try and implement it. And if they look at Paccurate as well, we'd be appreciative. So that's a little bit about us. So thank you, Scotty.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, Steve. It's great chatting to you, especially with your insight into the industry, because you really understand what goes on at a grassroots level, and that's important. Final question, website, where can they learn more?
If customers can go to Paccurate.io, it's accurate with a P, so it's a combination of packing and accurate put together. If they can go to Paccurate.io, everything is there, including an ROI calculator. They can request an API. They can start the trial. The API message is fully documented. Pricing is even there. And there's a chat bot there that they can, if they have any questions, they can just go right on the chat bot and somebody in our organization will get back to them and will answer their question. So that's the best way to do it.
Thank you. Steve Cooper, thank you for joining me on scottcundill.com.
Scotty, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure.